The village of Pinesboro lay nestled between ancient trees, their twisted branches forming a canopy that rarely let in the sun. Among the villagers, whispers of the eyeless maiden haunted the air, a ghostly figure said to wander the forest, seeking revenge for her untimely death. It was a tale told to children to keep them from wandering too far, yet its eerie grip extended to the adults who dared not speak her name after dark. Every corner of Pinesboro carried an air of caution. The children played close to home, their laughter tinged with nervous glances towards the forest. The elders spoke in hushed tones, recounting encounters with the eyeless maiden that sent shivers down spines. Even the bravest of souls hesitated to venture into the woods once the sun dipped below the horizon, for fear of becoming her next victim. Years ago, the maiden was a young woman named Alara, known for her beauty and kindness. One fateful night, she ventured into the forest and never returned. Days later, her body was found, her eyes gouged out in a gruesome act of violence. Her killer was never found, but the villagers believed Alara's spirit lingered, cursed to roam the forest in search of the eyes stolen from her. The story went that Alara had been promised to a wealthy merchant's son, a man of ill repute who coveted her beauty. When she spurned his advances, he lured her into the forest under the pretense of reconciliation, only to exact his brutal revenge. Her screams were said to echo through the trees on cold, moonless nights, a haunting reminder of her suffering. The maiden's curse became the villagers' fear. Those who dared to enter the forest after sunset often disappeared, their bodies found with hollow sockets where their eyes once were. The villagers erected signs and warnings at the forest's edge, but the allure of the unknown tempted some, despite the grave risk. The legend was enough to keep most villagers away, but it only fueled Alex's curiosity. Alex, a city teenager with a penchant for debunking myths, arrived in Pinesboro for a summer away from the urban grind. His grandmother's stories of the eyeless maiden were met with rolled eyes and smirks. He was used to the bustling streets of the city, where the only ghosts were the figments of late-night television shows. To Alex, the village's fear seemed like a relic from a bygone era. He was eager to escape the quiet boredom of Pinesboro, and the legend of the eyeless maiden seemed like the perfect opportunity for adventure. One evening, as they huddled around a campfire, his new friends, Sarah, Tyler, and Jared, shared their own encounters and fears. Each story seemed more implausible than the last. "Prove it's just a story," Tyler challenged, his face lit by the flickering flames. "Go into the forest tonight and come back with something to show." Alex's eyes sparkled with the thrill of the dare. "You're on," he said, his voice full of bravado. He packed a flashlight and his phone ready to document his adventure. His friends watched with a mix of admiration and fear, none willing to join him but all eager to see if he would return. As the last light of day faded, Alex stepped into the forest. The trees loomed like silent sentinels, their branches intertwining to form a thick canopy overhead. His flashlight cast a narrow beam, illuminating the path ahead but casting deeper shadows all around him. Every snap of a twig and rustle of leaves heightened his senses. Despite his bravado, a shiver ran down his spine. The forest grew darker and more oppressive with each step. Alex's flashlight flickered, adding to the sense of unease. He pressed on, driven by a mix of curiosity and the need to prove his friends wrong. The air grew colder, and the silence was punctuated by distant, unidentifiable sounds. His heart raced as he moved deeper into the woods. He stumbled upon an old campsite abandoned in haste with personal items scattered around, remnants of those who came before him. A rusted lantern, a torn backpack, and a tattered blanket told silent stories of fear and flight. Alex felt a pang of unease, but he pushed it aside, determined to find something tangible to debunk the legend. Alex felt a chill that was not from the evening air. He turned and saw her, the eyeless maiden. Her face, once beautiful, was now a mask of horror, her empty eye sockets weeping dark, viscous tears. She moved silently, her presence exuding a cold dread. Alex's heart pounded as he backed away, but the forest seemed to conspire against him, roots and branches hindering his escape. The maiden's hollow gaze fixed on him, her spectral form floating closer. "Why have you come?" she whispered, her voice an eerie echo. "Have you come to give me what was stolen?" Desperation fueled Alex's actions. He tried to run, but the forest seemed alive, its roots and branches tangling around his feet. He threw his flashlight, hoping to distract her. The light shattered, casting an eerie glow on the forest floor. The maiden paused, her eyeless sockets reflecting the faint light. With a burst of adrenaline, Alex remembered the old tales of spirits fearing fire. He grabbed a fallen branch and used a lighter from his pocket to set it ablaze. The makeshift torch flared, illuminating the maiden's ghastly form. She recoiled, her spectral form flickering. Alex seized the moment and ran, the torch his only shield. Alex burst out of the forest, breathless and trembling, the village lights a welcome sight. The villagers listened in grim silence as he recounted his ordeal, their fears reaffirmed. His friends, who had been waiting anxiously, were both relieved and terrified by his story. "She's real," Alex said, his voice shaking. "The eyeless maiden is real." The village elders nodded solemnly, their warnings vindicated. The forest seemed to whisper its own secrets, and Alex knew the eyeless maiden's revenge was far from over. The legend, once a mere story to him, had become a chilling reality.